Has spring housing demand already sprung in the early part of January? That's the question that we're going to be unpacking today. So if you get some value out of this, you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team about how you can navigate this data and understand what it means for your housing decisions, you can do that with the link in the comments. There is some key data out there right now that indicates the spring housing demand may have already sprung in the early part of January and maybe even in the end of 2024. So I want to give you everyone some statistics here. So far this year, through the first week of January, we've seen 260,329 homes go under contract across the country. That's compared to 247,652 in 2024 and 231,127 in 2023. That represents a 5.1% increase. And we're going to put this chart up here to show everyone the gains that we're seeing in pending home sales. So what this tells me is that there's demand out there. Buyers want to buy. People aren't waiting for the traditional months anymore. And it's also important to realize that we're coming off historic lows. So it doesn't take much to move the needle here. Now, what we also know is we're seeing some stabilization of mortgage rates. Even though there's been some volatility, we've seen sixes at the end of Q3, beginning of Q4, and now we're right around 7% on a monthly rate based on everything that's going on in the market, even the most recent Fed meeting back in December. We're not seeing that volatility we saw throughout 2023 and even in 2022 when it came to mortgage rates. And because the jobless claims, and it's important to watch this jobs data that's going to come out this week, have remained pretty stable, and they're low-level jobless claims, we haven't seen rates come down much. That's really what's going on. So we're seeing that pending sales are up over 5% so far this year. We're seeing that inventory is floating around a 2.1, 2.2 month supply in the greater Philadelphia area. And what we also know is that the mortgage application index, so the mortgage application index, it's a number that's determined through how many mortgage applications are getting filed on a weekly basis. And at the end of December, we saw a 157.1 index compared to the end of December in 2023, which was a 148.7 index. That's a jump of 5.64%. So we're seeing more applications get filed, more pending sales are happening. So what does this mean, right? We're seeing the markets moving here when we've got snow outside. It's the beginning of January. We're barely a week into the new year. So if you're a seller right now, what I'd be looking at, and I want to share a really important piece of data here that I went over with one of my clients in a second. I'd be looking at what's actually going on in the market. You're going to hear a lot of agents that talk about wait until after the Super Bowl, wait until March, wait until the spring. But what you need to look at is the historical data, because when you don't look at data, you're just guessing. So I went over this with a client of mine very recently. We're putting their home on the market a lot sooner than the advice they were getting from other agents, because we looked at what was happening in their segment of the market in terms of pending sales activity over the past 2 years in January, February, March, and April. You can get this report right from Bright MLS. And then we saw how inventory rose each of those months. And we saw that inventory really picked up February, March, April. No surprise. But the same number of pending sales were happening in their price point, in their municipality, in their school district. So for them, it made sense to, hey, we're not seeing it's a question of demand right now. What we're doing is we're looking to get ahead of those competing homes and try to cash in on the low competition. So if I'm a seller, that's my thought process right now. And I would encourage you to find an agent who's going to be able to give you that analysis pretty easily. If I'm a buyer, here's the advice I'd be listening to. Get all your financials in order, make sure you're ready to move ahead, and be scouring the market and getting real-time updates. You never know when your right home's going to come on the market. And the worst thing that can happen is it comes on the market, the property sells, you don't even know about it, and you missed an opportunity that's going to be right for you and your household. So the message here today is we're seeing that the things that real estate agents say, because they've been saying them for a long time, may not necessarily be true. The data will give you guidance in your decisions, and it's important to find an agent who can share that data with you. And the good news is we're seeing the market really pick up here in early January. So even if you're 6, 12 months out, start talking to agents now. Ask questions. Get your finances in order. Start to get the home ready. All this stuff takes time. And the more prepared you are, the better real estate decision you're going to make. Demand's there. Are you going to take advantage?